Welcome, nutritionradio.org listeners. This is Lonnie Lowry, a university nutrition professor of over 20 years and podcast host of long-running shows like Iron Radio. Come on in. Market news from the food world.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to nutritionradio.org, probably the nerdiest podcast of all things related to nutrition and wellness. Today we have an exciting topic to delve into: prebiotic soda. This stuff is not only meant to be refreshing, but it's also purportedly good for your gut health, and then, by extension, some downstream organs. We'll get to that. So grab a glass, sit back, and let's fizz our way into the world of prebiotic soda. To start off, let's clarify what exactly prebiotics are. Prebiotics are non-digestible fibers that serve as food for beneficial bacteria in your gut. They're not probiotics, right? They're not live bacteria. They are food or fuel for the hundreds of species of bacteria in your gut, meaning late-stage small intestines, mostly large intestines in your colon, right? Your bowel. We want to keep that healthy, and one way to do that is with these prebiotic fibers. There are other things in the diet that can interact with gut microbiota and lead to some metabolites, some downstream benefits, but typically we're talking about fibers. My favorite example is fructooligosaccharides. These are fructans. They're a little bit shorter in chain length. You could go back and check out previous episodes on different types of fiber that we've done, but fructooligosaccharides, or short-chain FOS, they're called, or other fructans like chicory root inulin, you may have heard of that. Resistant starches are also fermentable. I've seen data that resistant maltodextrin, like Fibersol, soluble corn fiber, is slowly fermentable. That could be good. The pace at which something ferments and turns into like short-chain fatty acids, that's something good, but if it happens too quickly, it can lead to some symptomology like gas and bloating and that sort of thing. So I have seen some data on these resistant maltodextrins that are more slowly fermentable than something like a short-chain FOS. Again, might reduce gas and bloating symptoms. It takes several days to even a few weeks for people to kind of up their dose of some of these fibers and be able to tolerate them without a lot of some of these gassy side effects. But like a lot of functional foods, of which I am a fan, this is just an attempt by some of these companies like Olipop or Poppi. We'll get there in a minute in the food trend portion of this, but to try to incorporate some of these prebiotic fibers into a drink. I mean, let's face it, Americans don't get much fiber as it is. Traditional soda, obviously no fiber. It's associated with high sugar content. It has caramel color, which really surprised me as I started looking into some of the negative consequences of that. Artificial ingredients, which can have negative impacts on our health. In fact, the World Health Organization just released some concerning info on artificial sweeteners. That's a story for another day. But in contrast, right, these prebiotic sodas, they're taking a different approach. They're formulated with natural, quote-unquote, ingredients. They're meant to taste good while providing these benefits of these prebiotic fibers. Prebiotic sodas like Olipop and Poppi, they do indeed typically contain prebiotic fibers such as inulin or chicory root extracts, and they are known to support a healthy gut microbiome. That's not really up for that much debate. It's just a matter of, taking something that's sort of a treat food and trying to make it something that's a health food, if you will. These fibers, they're a source of food for good bacteria in our gut, helps them thrive and improve overall digestive health. And then downstream, because some of these short-chain fatty acids can get into your bloodstream and reach other organs, possibly, blood sugar control and weight management, immune health. Oftentimes you'll hear that most of your immune system is residing in your gut. Even cognition kind of claims. A lot of things could potentially come from this as you see these prebiotic sodas hit the market. Another important distinction is the sugar content, right? Regular soda, like a Coke or a Pepsi, obviously contains very large amounts of added sugars, and they can lead to weight gain or dental issues and even, present risk of different chronic diseases over time. Prebiotic soda, on the other hand, tends to have lower added sugars, natural sweeteners, stevia and monk fruit and other things of that nature, hopefully making it better alternative for those that are looking to cut down on sugar intake. But I think it even goes beyond just reducing the sugar content. Some of these prebiotic fibers actually help with insulin sensitivity, or help regulate blood sugar levels. That's not just good for diabetes, that's good for weight management potentially. Now, although some of the nutritionradio.org episodes, they're frankly meant for students, both present or future students, some of the basics, but I would encourage you to go check out some of these episodes. We're scaffolding these on purpose so you could go learn about the different types of fiber and the effects on weight management. Episode 73 and 76 would be examples of where you can go understand a little bit more about fiber. There's so many different kinds. It's really a big frontier. I'm sure you've heard about this whole gut microbiota kind of thing. So, the fiber content in prebiotic soda is sometimes intended, among other things, to create a feeling of fullness. That, along with the data on better blood sugar control, that could reduce chances of overeating or weight gain over time. Obviously, carbs are getting a lot of negative attention, especially sugars. Even people who aren't in the fitness world or health-conscious world, watching sugar intake, watching refined carbohydrate intake, a little bit, scary, some of the data. So we don't want to demonize carbohydrates like we used to demonize fat a couple of decades ago, but we have to realize that there are things that we need to manage, and some of these prebiotic fibers might actually help us do that. Now, it's also worth noting, if we want to be hopeful and positive anyway, that prebiotic soda often contains additional ingredients that might provide other health benefits. For example, some brands could include vitamins or minerals or herbal extracts to further enhance the nutritional value of the beverage. Now, that's in huge contrast, right, to the quote-unquote empty calories that we often teach in the classroom that is so typically assigned to things like colas or orange pop and that kind of thing. It's just sugar with no nutrients at all. So again, it's an attempt to make something healthy, make a functional food out of something that might have been a vice, in a sense, in the past, or a treat of some kind. Something else we should also address is the taste. I have not actually tasted any of these prebiotic sodas. I'm going to talk just a little bit about this from a piece from CNBC. This is a huge trend ramping up this year. If you've tasted these prebiotic sodas, you can email me at lawnman7@hotmail.com and let me know. And, I'll read your comment on air and, we'll just see what you think about this, because obviously the CEOs and the formulators of these companies are suggesting that, these things taste really great. They have been working on the flavor. Obviously, that's something that's going to be a concern in the food markets. Classic cola, fruity blends, lots of different things here. But let's take a look at this piece from CNBC, food and beverage category. Prebiotic soda Olipop approaches $200 million in annual sales, and CEO says Coca-Cola and PepsiCo have already come knocking. This is from Amelia Lucas. Very recent stuff just came out. It says Olipop is on track to sell more than $200 million of its prebiotic soda this year. This rise coincides with years, of course, of declining soda consumption in the U.S. I really think that message has gotten out about empty calories and added sugar. But there's also that interest in gut health, and more people are aware of this whole microbiome thing, right? Intestinal bacteria. Regarding Olipop, the founder and CEO, Ben Goodwin, he says, quote, "Right now my focus is on blowing business through the roof." They are, in fact, on target to more than double sales compared to last year. The startup presents itself as sort of like we've been saying, a healthier alternative to traditional soda with the same familiar taste. Olipop raised $55.4 million as of January 2nd of this year, at a reported valuation of $199.8 million. That's according to PitchBook data. Again, I'm getting this from CNBC. Investors include Gwyneth Paltrow, who I understand is very interested in a lot of functional foods and holistic kinds of things. Former PepsiCo CEO Indra Nooyi, also on board with some of this funding interest, and RX Bar founder Peter Rahal. Very interesting, some of these, I guess, industry figures getting involved and getting invested here. I admit, I was surprised. Functional sodas account for 14% of the digestive health category, according to SPINS, S-P-I-N-S data. And again, this is through CNBC. Olipop's formula, what is in it? It includes 9 grams of fiber and prebiotics. So I went and took a look on their website. Apparently, it's a variety of these different ingredients that they're calling OliSmart. Cassava root fiber, chicory root, inulin, Jerusalem artichoke inulin. Again, those inulins are those fructans. They're definitely fermentable, soluble fibers, and would cause some of these short-chain fatty acids to be produced, again, like propionate, butyrate, things that are fuels for the local gut cells. Also increase the acidity in the area so you can actually absorb more calcium and that kind of thing. There's also various barks and roots in this OliSmart blend. Now, the rival, Poppi, which was founded in 2015, it's also seen its sales accelerate over the past year. It infuses its soda with apple cider vinegar. Both Olipop and Poppi have leaned into influencer marketing on TikTok. I'm not a big fan of that. That again, influencers are, that's not necessarily a credential, is it? But that's my curmudgeon. Anyway, gut trend is obviously a trending topic, especially because of its link to immunity and the whole, pandemic thing and all the things that's been happening to us. In February, Olipop's root beer overtook Dr. Pepper's A&W as the best-selling root beer, at least at an unspecified top U.S. retailer, according to Goodwin. That's very curious to me. So this stuff is definitely on the rise, it looks like. Goodwin said he formulated the root beer himself. Now, I'm not sure how to take that. I've worked with different people who were both CEO and formulator, if you will, with different degrees of competence here. But what they're listing, a lot of them we know, like these inulins, they are in fact prebiotics. And one last thing before I let you go today, price. Even with Coke and Pepsi's higher prices that they're claiming is inflationary, I think there's a lot of corporations, frankly, it's just easy to point to inflation for higher costs when maybe some of them just want higher quarterly profits. But even with their higher prices, Olipop is still more expensive. A 12-ounce can of Olipop cost $2.49 at a Target store in New York City, according to this piece. Olipop's Goodwin is confident, though, that consumers will pay more for the drinks that he formulates. He says that the soda trails only coffee in its price inelasticity, meaning that consumers are willing to pay more for this kind of thing. But that's all the time we have today. I hope this episode sheds some light on the world of prebiotic soda and its potential benefits, or at least the market trend that's kind of surging. Let me know if you've tasted it. Let me know if you think this is an abomination or if it's actually a good idea. Again, you can send me an email, lawnman7@hotmail.com. Just remember, making these small conscious changes, including functional foods, I do think can have a benefit. And even if you think not, that's the food trend. We'll see you next time.
The nutritionradio.org podcast is for informational purposes only. If you're interested in starting a diet or exercise program, check with your physician, nutritionist, or qualified exercise physiologist in order to make the progress that you need.